You are standing at the base of a massive, perfectly conical volcano in the heart of Costa Rica.
Yeah, and the atmosphere there is just, it's incredibly intense.
Right. The air is thick with humidity, the jungle is buzzing with this chaotic symphony of life all around you, and if you listen closely, you might just hear the faint, deep rumble of the earth shifting miles underground.
Welcome to the Volcanorenal and La Fortuna region.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into a really comprehensive travel and trail guide straight from Rutas, Costa Rica.
Looking through these sources, the sheer scale of the geological forces at play here is staggering. I mean, it is one of the most dynamic, rapidly changing landscapes on the planet.
Where creation and destruction are basically happening side by side.
Exactly.
And the mission of our deep dive today is to really sift through the vast amount of logistical details covering this incredible region. We want to uncover the most fascinating geological, historical, and ecological secrets hidden along these trails.
Making sure you know exactly what makes this area so special.
Right, without getting bogged down by information overload or literal itineraries, we are pulling out the deeper narratives hidden in the jungle.
But before we navigate the trails, we really need to set the stage with a vital piece of context about the mountain itself.
Definitely.
Because while Volcanorenal hasn't had a major landscape-altering eruption since 2011, it is still very much an active, breathing volcano.
It is not dormant by any stretch.
No, not at all. It's constantly releasing toxic gases and incredibly hot steam near the summit. And that underlying volatility is exactly why all hiking in the area is strictly limited to the base.
You cannot hike to the crater.
Right. The sources are very clear that safety dictates the boundaries of exploration in this region, and those boundaries are non-negotiable.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when you arrive in the region, the guide lays out two main ways to hike the base of the volcano, and they offer entirely different perspectives on that geological volatility.
Yeah, you basically have two distinct choices.
First, you have the official Volcanorenal National Park, and then right next door is a privately owned reserve called Arenal 1968.
And the distinction between the public park and the private reserve really shapes the kind of terrain you'll encounter. The official national park provides a highly curated, accessible look at the volcano's recent history.
It's located just about a 25-minute drive from the center of La Fortuna, and the infrastructure there is fantastic. You get access to about 6 kilometers of incredibly well-maintained trails.
And there's one specific trail that stands out in the guide.
The absolute crown jewel of the national park, the Las Coladas Trail. It is nearly 2 kilometers long, and it takes you straight to the remnants of a massive lava flow from 1992.
Which is incredible to see up close.
Reading the descriptions of this, it sounds like such a visceral experience. You are literally walking across the cooled, hardened, jagged black lava that was molten rock just a few decades ago.
The contrast of that stark, black volcanic rock against the encroaching green of the jungle, it's a perfect visual representation of how life reclaims devastated land.
It really is.
And the park gives you a front row seat to some incredible botanical adaptations along the El Saibo Trail, too.
Yeah, that trail is highly recommended for the return trip. It passes by this giant ceiba tree, which is magnificent on its own, but the real star there is a massive, sprawling strangler fig.
Nature's slow-motion assassin.
Right. And if you aren't familiar with strangler figs, the concept is wild. They don't grow from the ground up like a normal tree. A seed is dropped by a bird high up in the canopy onto a host tree.
And then it just takes over.
Exactly. The fig sends roots all the way down to the forest floor, eventually wrapping around and literally suffocating the original host tree.
Leaving just a hollow, intricate wooden cage where the original trunk used to be.
It's a botanical battle playing out right off the trail. Oh, and for a great crater view without a ton of physical effort, the guide notes the Heliconius Trail. It is entirely flat and a bit narrow, but the sightlines to the peak are phenomenal.
So the official park offers a really smooth introduction. But the privately owned Arenal 1968 Reserve offers a much more rugged, unfiltered encounter with the mountain's violent past.
It's a totally different vibe.
It really is. Situated just north of the national park, this reserve manages a sprawling network of over 16 kilometers of trails designated for hiking and mountain biking.
The sources highlight the Sendero El Bosque 1968 as the premier hike here. It's a 4.7-kilometer trek rated moderate to hard.
You're definitely going to be working up a sweat on that one.
Oh, yeah. Reviewing the trail notes, you are going to be navigating steep sections, exposed routes, and challenging rocky terrain. But the payoff is incredible because it leads you past Lago Los Patos.
Which is not your average lake.
Not at all. It's a small lake plunging 22 meters deep, and it exists solely because of the craters left behind during the historic eruptions.
What's fascinating here is the sheer geological violence required to create a landscape like that. When traversing the 1968 trails, you will find massive volcanic boulders scattered everywhere.
Just sitting in the jungle.
Yeah. And during the catastrophic 1968 eruption, those rocks did not merely tumble down the slopes. The pressure beneath the summit was so intense that they exploded out of the crater and were launched through the air at speeds reaching 2,000 kilometers per hour.
I mean, to put that in perspective, that is faster than the speed of sound. You were talking about a geological artillery strike bombarding the countryside.
Exactly. And when those hypersonic boulders impacted the Earth, they carved out massive craters that have permanently scarred the landscape. You can still see those impact zones right off the edge of the trail today.
That detail completely changes how you view the hike. You aren't just walking through a forest, you're walking through a blast zone.
It puts the power of the Earth right under your boots.
But the terrain wasn't the only thing altered by the region's explosive history. From those same 1968 trail viewpoints, you get a sweeping look at Lake Arenal.
Lake Arenal is currently the largest lake in Costa Rica, but its current massive footprint is actually a relatively modern human engineering feat.
It wasn't always that big.
No. In 1979, the Costa Rican Electric Company constructed a massive hydroelectric dam that fundamentally transformed the valley, effectively tripling the volume of the original lake to generate power for the country.
Tripling it. When you triple the volume of a lake of that size, millions of gallons of water have to flood into the surrounding valleys.
And unfortunately, those valleys were inhabited. Two established towns, Arenal and Tronadora, sat directly in the flood path.
Wow.
The government had to completely relocate both communities to higher ground before the valley was inundated.
And the eerie detail from the source material is that those original towns were never demolished. They were simply abandoned.
Left exactly as they were.
So right now, sitting at the bottom of Lake Arenal, submerged in the dark, are the remains of those old roads, the building foundations, the town squares. It's an entire sunken city, resting in silence beneath the boats and the windsurfers on the surface.
The juxtaposition of the explosive, fiery history of the volcano with the silent, flooded history of those human settlements makes the geography of the entire valley incredibly profound.
Shifting our focus from the sunken history in the valley up to the safe zones on the mountain, the Rutas Costa Rica guide highlights a truly fascinating accommodation detail.
This is one of my favorite parts of the guide.
There is only one hotel located entirely inside the actual national park boundaries, the Arenal Observatory Lodge.
And the placement of that lodge is strategic and heavily rooted in science. It sits perched on a cliffside, roughly 27 kilometers south of the volcano, situated within what geologists designated as a green zone.
Meaning it's safe.
Completely safe. The topography naturally protects it from the paths of all past and projected pyroclastic flows. But what makes it truly unique is its origin story. It was not constructed as a luxury resort.
Not originally.
No. In 1987, it was built as a dedicated scientific research station for the Smithsonian Institution.
So you aren't just booking a room. You are steeping yourself in scientific history.
Even prior to the official construction in the late 80s, teams of Smithsonian volcanologists had been camping and living on this exact spot throughout the 1970s, continuously monitoring the intense seismic activity.
Which is pretty brave considering what happened in '68.
Absolutely. And some of the original rustic rooms built for those pioneering scientists have been preserved and incorporated into the modern hotel footprint. To this day, they are affectionately known as the Smithsonian Rooms.
The guide does an excellent job explaining how non-guests can access this piece of history, too. You don't actually have to stay overnight to explore the grounds.
You can just visit for the day.
Right. Visitors can arrive at a distinctive yellow gate at the base of the property. You pay a $15 entrance fee, receive a colored wristband and a map, and then you drive your vehicle about 1.5 kilometers up a winding road into the property. It gives the whole experience a very exclusive VIP access feel to the jungle.
And the property itself is vast. It covers 870 acres, and it serves as a brilliant model for land management. The acreage is divided into 3 distinct zones, while half of it is working pasture land utilized by local farmers. A quarter is virgin, primary rainforest, meaning it is ancient, highly complex, layered canopy that has never been logged or disturbed.
Beautiful.
And the remaining